Davey D, Hard Knock Radio, hanging out with you this afternoon, listening to a brand new song that talks about San Francisco and some of the things that are going on in there. It is by local activist, local artist extraordinaire. His name is Dregs One, and we wanted to continue our conversation of looking at the elections. Dregs, welcome to the show, and how you doing, man? People call you the unofficial mayor of the city. You're one of the few longtime people that's left there.
Oh, man, right on, Davey. I'm glad to be here. It's a beautiful rainy morning right here on Mission Street. I'm just, this is my office for the day. You know, I'm still blessed to be out here in this community trying to hold it down and represent for the last ones of us left out here.
So let me ask you, I wanted to get your perspective. We got the perspective of Tim Redmond, but I wanted to get yours for a couple of reasons. One, you're younger, and you're in a community where now the millennials and how they see things are a front and center issue. And you have some millennials who are tech savvy, who are coming in, making $150,000, $200,000 a year. And we have a number of people like yourself who are out there in a mission that have always been blue collar and making it from day to day. And I wanted to get the perspective from where you're standing, because one of the challenges, as they say, is that the millennial generation is the ones that aren't voting as much. So from your standpoint, how are you seeing things, and does it even make a difference at this point in time?
That's a really good point to bring up, because me personally, I lost faith in the system at one point. I totally lost faith in elections. You talk about being the millennials. I mean, I like to call us the George W. Bush era, where we literally saw him steal an election. But now I've kind of come around, particularly on the local issue, just because I feel like our voice does matter. But you can see the contrast between, like you said, the generation of millennials that are from the city and the young generation that's moving in. And me personally, the schools that I went to and that my folks went to, we didn't get a lot of civic engagement. We weren't really given the tools to navigate the political landscape. We weren't really given a voice to navigate the political landscape. So I feel like there's not a lot of interaction between my generation and the voting process. Me personally, I'm definitely down to be a part of this election, but my philosophy is looking beyond that, too. What do we do on the day-to-day? What type of activism can we engage in on a day-to-day to hold people accountable and to make things happen and to prevent certain things from happening? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at right now with it.
Right, but one of the arguments that has been made is that the currency in which decisions are made are based around who goes to the lever. At least they'll hold that up for a period of time and said you showed up and the other person didn't, and so therefore we roll with the people who showed up. But with that being said, the other thing that we should know about you is, in addition to being an artist, a lot of people forget that for a very long time you were doing like almost these video vignettes, almost like a video talk show, where you were talking about many of these issues years before they really came into, to become full-blown as they are now. I mean, I could play your old videos where you were talking about gentrification when people didn't even know the word, but now here we are.
Right.
And when I talked to you back then, you said it was important to raise awareness. So here we are. People are looking at a number of things that would actually deal with the very topic that you were bringing up, 7 or 8 years ago, in the form of Measure F, in the form of Measure A, and all these other situations, who's going to be the mayor, et cetera, et cetera. So as somebody who's been talking about this for damn near 10 years, how do what do you say to your peers this afternoon on the eve of the election? What do you suggest to them? What do you want people to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, see, that's really crazy that you mentioned that. I remember that's how me and you kind of first hooked up, and the message behind those videos was, look, just wake up. Just be aware. Just be focused. Just be involved. Just care. You know what I mean? There's a lot of lack of empathy. There's a lot of lack of consideration, and there's a lot of feelings of powerlessness, like, oh, it's not going to do nothing. My vote's not going to do nothing. Going to that protest is not going to do nothing. supporting this boycott's not going to do nothing. And that's like the reason why these things were allowed to happen. I mean, the transformation from when I first made those videos is like palpable. You can just see it. Even some of those same places, some of those same people I talked to are no longer even here. So I think we really need to just kind of keep our third eye open as people in our 20s, and even I support the youth younger than me. We really need to keep our eye open and read these propositions like with a careful consideration. Like, let's really look at what's going on. Like, because people think that the world just keeps on spinning, but we all have a power in changing the way that these things go, whether it's with the vote, whether it's with our dollars, or whether it's just speaking out and showing up. And that's what I'm still trying to push on my peers, even some of my friends who aren't even politically involved. I'm like, come on, man, we need to all be a part of this.
Right. So, what are you telling people for tomorrow? You know you have the platform this afternoon. What are you telling people? The unofficial mayor of San Francisco, which ways they should go? What is standing out for you politically wise that you are like emphatic, like we need to weigh in on, this in this direction, that direction. So how are you going?
Well, definitely Prop I, which is kind of putting a temporary pause on luxury condo development in the Mission. That's really critical. That's a no-brainer. We definitely need that one to pass. The development of condos in the Mission, and the thing people don't realize, it's not even just the Mission anymore. It's the whole city. It's even Bayview, Hunters Point. They're building condos and stuff like that. But so starting the Mission, if we can get a pause on that would be huge. Obviously, I want Proposition F passed, so there's more regulation on the Airbnb type of folks. But
let me ask you that on Proposition F. How did you feel seeing all these political bigwigs from Gavin Newsom on down to Mayor Ed Lee, the entire Democratic Party in the city, all getting behind Airbnb on that? What's your sense? From the people I talk to, it seems like there's a big disconnect, but you're closer to the ground than I am. Is there a big disconnect, or is it heavily contested in terms of how people are feeling?
Yeah, it's a huge I mean, it ain't nothing but corruption, man. That's nothing but corruption. Like Ed Lee, Gavin Newsom, Willie Brown, the Board of Supervisors, these guys they've been under investigation, federal investigation for corruption. You know what I mean? Like, they're literally lying in bed with some of these people that are bringing in millions of dollars. They're sitting down at tables and cutting up pieces of pie that's got billions of dollars on them. So they're puppets. You know what I'm saying? These developers and these tech companies and a lot of gangsters are pulling the strings. So their voice doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the voice of the people that's, like you said, here on the ground level. What are we seeing? What are we experiencing every day? Because that's not Ed Lee's reality. That's not Gavin Newsom's reality. That's not Julie Christensen's reality. These people are so disconnected and they're so blind. They're not even blind. It's like intentional ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Because they know what they're voting for. They know that saying no to Prop F is letting these people like Airbnb go unchecked. If Airbnb goes unchecked, that's more money for them in the long run. You know what I mean? They're in bed with them. So I don't trust them, and it's crazy how like they really try to manipulate it. Even like another thing I really want to bring up is Proposition D, which some people are saying to vote yes on because that's 40% affordable housing. Well, I'm like, no, I'm not voting on that because people don't realize that we get 40% affordable housing, but the 60% is going to be market rate, which is right now it's like $3,000 for a one bedroom. It's going to be market rate, it's going to be office spaces, and it's going to be huge towers built on the waterfront. So it's like a lose-lose situation, but they use these languages, they use our language in these code words, affordable housing, and they try to bamboozle us. So I feel like it's really like, man, forget what anybody says. What my vision is, forget what I say, forget what Ed Lee says. For the listener and the voter, like really just go look deep at these issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody needs to look critically for their own selves. We can't afford to follow these.
How can you look critically, Dregs One, when so much money is spent on information being put in a certain way. When I see, when I turn on the TV and I see a London Breed, and she's a sister and president of the Board of Supervisors, and I see Ed Lee, who has the word civil rights, lawyer next to his name as the mayor, and they say go one direction versus the other, those buzzwords, when you look at it, if you don't really have that deep knowledge, I go, civil rights attorney, black woman, why should I disagree with that? And of course, if you go a little bit deeper, you can find that people who have those titles may be in bed with corporations, as you're pointing out.
Exactly.
So I guess in some respect, people do depend upon folks like you who have filtered the information, because you do the study, you do hold the town hall. So you were saying that, in this case, you were saying, everybody should be for Prop F.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
See, it's just like, it's just a matter of doing your homework. Like, I appreciate the voice and the position that I have in my community, but a lot of this information you can find out with a Google search.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you brought up London Breed. You do a search for London Breed's name in the Chronicle on sfgate.com, and you'll find that she was targeted by the FBI on a wiretap accepting prepaid debit cards in exchange for political favors.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That was in the news. She was on a wiretap accepting debit cards for political favors. So for me, if I'm the average Joe and I go and I do a little search, who said this? Oh, London Breed told me to vote no on F, and I go do a search for London Breed and I find that, then I can make a decision. Well, hold on, maybe that's not the best person to listen to.
I see what you're saying. I didn't know. So what else is standing out for you as we get ready to kind of wrap things up a little? What else would you say right now? You have the platform, you have the airwaves right now. What are you telling people to do?
Well, obviously, a lot of the mayor election is a big issue right now, and a lot of folks are pushing this 1, 2, 3 to evict Ed Lee, which is basically saying vote for anybody but Ed Lee, which I totally agree with. I mean, it's kind of crazy because Ed Lee kind of slid in. He was appointed by the Board of Supervisors. He wasn't even elected when he first became the mayor. And he's been a complete puppet. He's been a complete disaster. He's exacerbated the housing crisis. He's exacerbated the tech development. I mean, he's a monster. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's just a complete puppet. So we definitely need to get him out of there. And the candidate that I like, that I support personally, is Francisco Herrera, who is, he's a mission activist. He's really in touch with the community. He's got a lot of positive things going for him as far as supporting the people. I think he has a really good vision on how to support the city. I'm just honest. I got to be honest, Dave. I'm like kind of nervous because Ed Lee is coming with all this money backing him, like you said, and like a lot of people, pushing the line to get him reelected. So it's definitely going to be a fight to get him out of office.
Well, I appreciate that. So let me just look at my little check mark. You said, support Measure I. You said support Measure F. You said you're not going for Measure D, and you're looking at Francisco Herrera for mayor in San Francisco.
That's me, but like I said, I want everyone out there to do their own homework, hop on the internet, dig through the newspaper, read the voter guides, and really, come at this seriously and critically.
Man, we appreciate you taking time out. Dregs One, man, the unofficial mayor of San Francisco, taking time out. We appreciate your song. We're going to take a break here on Hard Knock Radio. We'll be right back.